Good morning. And this is Michael Dotterer on the dot. And as you can see behind me, it's a big week in Omaha. This is a College World Series. And if you look at the teams that started, and now we're ending up, and if I just move over here, everyone's going for the big trophy. And we've got a very special guest that's going to come on and join us in a few minutes. But before we get started, as many of you know, if you've listened to my On the Dots or our On the Dots, because it's not just me, it's about you and our amazing guests. We always like to start off with birthdays. But before we start off with birthdays, I want to thank the Players NIL, an amazing organization started by Mark Kirsterer. And if you're a young athlete or someone that really understands your name, image, and likeness and how important that is, you can go to theplayersnil.com for more information. And I'll be flashing that down below as we go through the program. I also want to thank Cadillac, Crest Cadillac in particular, and this amazing vehicle called the Lyric. And I'll be flashing the link down below if you want more information on the Lyric. It's the new electric vehicle, and many of you may have seen commercials. It's truly an amazing car, and it'll be coming out later this year. And I want to thank Anacia and To Be Kind. This product, let's see if I can show it to you. There it is. Anacia, not to be confused with Panacea. And this product, if you have any pain, this product is truly amazing. Oh, there's my special guest. Hi, Steven.
Hey, good morning. I ran over to the field to do the video in our press box, and it turns out there's an entire youth camp going on that I did not know about at the field. So I'm swimming right back over to my bedroom.
Okay.
Very quickly get set up on a makeshift desk that I can put together. I don't know if you saw my text, but I'm living with a host family for the summer. That's
Well,
Cape Cod.
yeah, Steven. Steven, I'm on live right now, so go ahead and join me when you can. I'm going to be talking right now, so you get on as soon as you can. We're on live right now. Okay, Steven, thanks. Yeah, that's our special guest, Steven Rosen, who's coming on. Any event, we can talk. I can talk actually, probably more than most people out there. So we're going to talk about a lot of good things. This Anacia product is amazing. I am going to flash the ticker right now. Here it is. Anacia and tobekind.com. Truly one of the most amazing products I've ever been a part of. And if you have a neck ache, back, like my back is, I have a back issue. This product is truly amazing. One of my friends, he has a chronic, what do you call it? An ankle arthritis, chronic arthritis. He put it on immediately. He noticed the difference. And he said he was so excited, he put it under his eyes. So this has to do with microbe management. So if you're interested in learning more about micromanagement, go to this link down below, which is To Be Kind. And then as far as the Lyric, I talked to you about the Lyric. If you're interested in the amazing Lyric, go to this link down below, the brochures.cadillac.com/S/BQD. And that is a virtual brochure that Cadillac's put together, and Crest Cadillac. It's an amazing brochure. So if you want to check it out, just I'll be flashing that below during the interview when Steven comes on. And then the other products that I want to share with you that are amazing. This one is called Euphoria, and there's an article today in the New York Times, and the title it's entitled "How Useful Are Supplements?" And you can take a survey, and they talk about supplements. We call that with Euphoria blind nutrition. Euphoria basically is nutrition based on your DNA, your own unique DNA, and this is a great company. And then finally, we've got Numi Skin, and Numi Numi Skin and Numi Swish is glutathione. I didn't know anything about glutathione until probably 4 months ago when my friend Eric Yamaguchi called me. And this product is truly amazing. This is the spray, the Numi Skin, and you just spray it on your face. And because of the nanotechnology, it's truly amazing. And, you know, people look at me and they don't think I'm 61 years old. They say, gosh, you got great skin. Well, I attribute a lot of that to this product. It's amazing. Numi. So with that, we're going to talk about the College Baseball World Series. Our special guest just called in, Steven Rosen. Steven, I met Steven through his uncle, and Richard Rosen. And Richard and I were classmates in college. He was the captain of our Stanford gymnastics team. And he introduced me to his nephew, Steven. And Steven has been a coach at, I believe, Georgia State, Notre Dame, who are going to be in the College World Series this weekend. He also coached with the Minnesota Twins organization, and he coached with, he's presently with the University of Alabama. And I want to connect Steven with some of my friends in baseball because I come from a baseball family. I don't know if many of you know, but my grandfather, he played professional baseball back in the 1920s when Babe Ruth played. And then he went on to be a scout with the Cincinnati Reds, the Cleveland Indians, and then the New York Yankees. And he ended up part of the team when George Steinbrenner bought the team. My grandfather was one of the top scouts, and when George Steinbrenner won their first World Series back in, I think, 1977 or 76, 77, my grandfather was part of that World Series. And some of my heroes played on that team, Thurman Munson, Ron Guidry, Reggie Jackson, Greg Nettles, Lou Piniella, just a great team. And my grandfather was part of that. And my father was a baseball player. My dad was a Major League Baseball player, played in the professional league, professional baseball from 1950, 51 to 1962. So my dad played professional baseball. And his brother, Tom Dotterer, who's my Uncle Tom, who's now the baseball coach at Christian Brothers Academy here in upstate New York, he played professional baseball. So there's baseball in our blood. And I was fortunate when I was a little kid. I played baseball and wiffle ball and dreamed about becoming a Major League Baseball player. And I had an opportunity to, in high school, I played with Tony Gwynn and Bobby Meacham and Kevin Romine. And that was in high school. Those were my teammates, and many other great players. And then I had the opportunity to go to Stanford and played at Stanford. I was a two-time All-American at Stanford, and we went to 2 College World Series. We had some great teams. We had players like Eric Hardgrave, Mike Aldretti, Steve Buechele, John Elway, Rick Lundblade. There's just so many of them. I mean, Pete Stanisiak, Mark Davis, the Toy Cannon, Daryl Stevens. We just had a great team, and we had so much fun going to Omaha. It was just so much fun. And this was when they had Rosenblatt Stadium. And I see Steven just joined. So we're going to bring Steven on in just a few minutes here. So it was it was just a great experience. And now they play in this new stadium, and I'm going to bring Steven on right now to talk about it. Let me bring him on here. Steven, welcome.
Hey there. Sorry about that. I apologize. My setup for where I was planning to take the call sort of fell through last moment. I apologize.
Oh, no worries, Steven. This is it's perfect timing. I was telling the audience about the College World Series and my experience. And I don't know if you know this, but OnTheDot, actually, I don't want to talk much. So this is about you, and you have an amazing background. And I was telling the audience that's listening to right now that we met through your uncle, Richard, who was the captain of our gymnastics team at Stanford, and he connected us. And we've been in touch, and you have had an amazing career. Could you just tell everybody about, where you're from and how you got involved in baseball and all of the amazing places you've been at? And go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Thank you again for having me on. I appreciate you being here and talking with me. I appreciate it. Thank you. I played college baseball for the College of New Jersey. I was a catcher there. Was fortunate to really have some great coaches throughout my playing career, both in high school and in college, who encouraged me to get into coaching. I've always had a passion for it. And again, some great mentors who sort of led me in that direction. That's when I got involved with the Trenton Thunder, the AA organization for the New York Yankees. They offered me an opportunity to join the organization to work in an analytical role. And at that time, I was fortunate to sort of combine two different passions of working in coaching and then also getting into the analytics side to continue down this road. Excuse me. And after that, I was able to join Georgia State University as a graduate assistant. And in that position, I again got to work with catchers, which is what I was fortunate to play. After working at Georgia State, I was able to move on to the University of Notre Dame, where I was the director of baseball operations. And after working at Notre Dame for 2 years, I was able to move on to the Minnesota Twins, where I was able to work in a hitting coach role, a minor league hitting instructor role. And following the Twins, I was able to join the staff at the University of Alabama. So I'm really happy to be where I am today. Have been, again, very lucky to work with a lot of great coaches and really enjoying it so far.
Well, Steven, you've had an amazing road at such a young age. You've been with some fantastic programs, and now you're at Alabama. And could you talk about this past year? I know you guys came close to getting to the tournament, but didn't quite make it. And I'd love for you to talk about the team that you used to coach, Notre Dame, and they're going to be in Omaha, and talk about what's your thoughts about the College World Series that's going on. It's going to start this weekend.
Yeah, so working at Alabama this year was an incredible experience. Anytime you get an opportunity to join the SEC, it's a fantastic opportunity to see the best baseball in the world firsthand, up close and personal, right from the first seat in the dugout. So that was an awesome experience that I had been looking forward to for a really long time. It's a tremendous learning opportunity. I think 4 or 5 of the 8 teams currently in Omaha have come from not only the SEC, but the SEC West, which is the division we play in at Alabama. So the opportunity to play those teams, put together some success against them as well. I believe we went 8-5 combined in those games against those teams in Omaha. So in some sense, we had a really, really fulfilling year in which we accomplished a lot of the goals that we set out for ourselves. In other senses, it was a little bit disappointing. Being left out of the regional. That was something that we had really worked hard for. And in some ways, we felt we had earned an opportunity. In other ways, we understood that we fell short in other areas. So while it was disappointing to not make it this year, I think it gives us motivation and some encouragement heading into next year as far as, again, continuing to strive for that goal of reaching a regional and eventually a super regional, and then the chance to go to Omaha. As far as Notre Dame, I have just so much respect for that group over there. They're just a tremendous group of kids. They work really, really hard. The coaching staff is phenomenal. Again, I had the opportunity to work on that staff with Coach Jared and Coach Restano and Coach Wallace, and those guys are just phenomenal. They do a tremendous job in preparing for the opponent and in recruiting, and then in coaching on a daily basis as far as practice and structure and process. And so I don't think there's a coincidence why they're still playing and why they're heading to Omaha. Everything they do on a daily basis is at the highest level, and each and every member of the organization is held to that standard and holds each other accountable. So I think they're a tremendous baseball team with a real likely chance to have success here in Omaha.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Omaha. You've actually, not only do you know intimately the staff and the program at Notre Dame, but you competed against some of these teams that are in Omaha. So could you maybe give us a perspective of what your thoughts are with the teams that are in Omaha? Obviously, my alma mater, Stanford, and some of the other teams. What are your thoughts about who's going to end up playing for the championship?
Yeah, I think it's really unique. You have a group of 8 teams who all perform at a really high level, but all do things a little bit differently and have their own unique style. And I think in the SEC, you often see that just the way that rosters are built and constructed, and as far as heavy on the mound or heavy positionally or in certain spots of the field. So I think you can definitely see some differences between the teams coming from the SEC playing in Omaha. You have Ole Miss with a very senior, older veteran group, a very offensive group. Texas A&M, a very balanced overall group with heavy transfers due to the coaching change that took place this last season. So they're another older veteran group with a number of transfers in their lineup, 5 or 6, I believe, who all do things really well. And again, play with that senior veteran presence and just do a lot of the little things well. Some of the other teams are a little bit more pitching heavy. I know Stanford relies heavily on their pitching and their defense. So you have this kind of clash between older veteran offensive lineups that are being constructed in college baseball for a number of different reasons, facing oftentimes younger, a little bit more inexperienced pitching on the mound. However, that pitching is real stuff and definitely um, able to match up with the offensive lineups that we're going to see in Omaha. So it should be a really exciting weekend filled with a lot of close games and a lot of exciting plays. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's I'm really excited about it. It's probably the most excited I've ever been. After playing there, in Omaha some 40 years ago. The teams that you mentioned, Stanford. Actually, I would say that Stanford,
This
Stephen.
year, for sure, actually, you're right.
Yeah, Stephen, I would say Stanford, and I don't know if you know this, but Stanford broke the all-time home run record. They've hit over 100 home runs as a team, and in the 100+ years of playing baseball at Stanford, no Stanford team has ever hit that many home runs. And actually, later today, we're going to have 3 of the great home run hitting Stanford legends, Hall of Famers, Eric Hargrave, Rick Lundblade, and Dave McCarty, who's got a World Series ring when he was with the Boston Red Sox, and they're going to be on the dot later today. But Stanford's playing. Let's go through the teams here. Stanford's playing Arkansas. So what are your thoughts about that matchup?
Arkansas is another great club. I mean, we played them actually 4 times this season because we had a series with them. We had the final weekend of the year, a series at home against Arkansas, and then we also lined up with them in the SEC tournament. So we played them 4 times in a matter of 2 weeks. We were very fortunate to be on the winning side in 3 or 4 of those games. And we happened to just catch them at a particular time in the year where they were dealing with some injuries on the mound, and we caught them at a good time, and we also were playing our best baseball of the year. So we were fortunate to come away with 3 W's and play really well against them. However, you could see as the regional got going, as the super regional happened, they definitely turned the page and they got again healthy back on the mound, and they started performing like the typical Arkansas that most teams know of. So they were an impressive group. They again have some older veteran presences in their lineup who can really do some damage as far as hitting the ball over the fence and driving the ball in the gap. And then they also have some players in their lineup who do a lot of the little things well and hit for average and can get a bunt down. And then on the mound, they have real stuff up and down. All of their starters were impressive. They had a deep bullpen with legit stuff coming out of the pen, both from the right and left side. So Arkansas was an impressive group. I do remember us having that conversation about Stanford and setting that home run record this year. It is impressive too. That should be a great matchup. It's fun seeing a Pac-12 team match up with an SEC team in this time of the year. Both teams have sort of gone through their own version of their own little juggernaut in their respected league, and now for the two of them to come out and be able to come match up against each other with their strengths sort of being similar in the way they produce runs and drive the ball. It should be a really exciting matchup for us to watch.
Yeah, and as you know, Steven, defense, pitching actually wins ball games, just like in American football.
For sure.
Defense wins championships. If you can't score, you're in every game. So when you look at Stanford and Arkansas, who would you say has the strongest pitching staff?
Again, obviously a little bit more familiar with Arkansas staff, being that we prepared for them and planned for them and played them. But I would have to lean Arkansas. I think the depth in the bullpen is a unique advantage that they have over a lot of teams, not just Stanford, but a majority of teams, and it's why that they're still playing the way that they are. But the depth of their bullpen is really unique. They can go to different guys at different times and really match up well, right-handed and left-handed, and not really lose much if you go to a certain arm at a particular time, particularly early in the game. They're still confident in the guys that they have available for them. So a number of arms coming out of the pen with 3 quality starters who throw 3 or even 4 pitches for strikes. I think that makes them a dangerous team when you combine it with what they can do offensively and the fact that they've been battle tested all year. They've already been through some adversity. They've already battled a point in their season where they've had to answer some questions and respond to some critics. So I think the fact that they've been through that, they're a little bit battle tested. They're back playing again, probably their best baseball of the season at the most important time to be. I think that gives them probably a small edge in the series.
And do you think Arkansas has the ability to maybe win the whole thing?
Oh, absolutely. I think Arkansas every year, really under Dave Van Horn, has a chance to win the whole thing. They're probably one of the most talented rosters up and down, both offensively and on the mound. And then I think they do a phenomenal job as a coaching staff. And again, they go through the SEC every year and the gauntlet of that and the what it does to a group of players and in the sense of providing them confidence moving forward in postseason play. I think again provides all SEC teams with that advantage. And then when you combine it with Arkansas's roster and their coaching staff, I think they have a very strong chance each and every year to win the whole thing, but particularly this year being in Omaha.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, that's great to hear this because obviously I'm going to be cheering for Stanford because that's my alma mater. But Dave Esker's done a great job at Stanford,
Absolutely.
and it's going to be interesting, Stephen, to see the outstanding pitching and, as you said, the bullpen for Arkansas facing this power juggernaut, home running, hitting Stanford club. So that's going to be fun to watch. Let's go to the next matchup. Let's go to a team that you know very well, a lot about, Notre Dame versus Texas A&M. What are your thoughts about that matchup?
Is it Texas or I thought Notre Dame was lined up with Texas.
I'm sorry. No. I think it's Notre Dame, I believe, is playing Texas A&M, isn't it?
Well, I can go either way because we actually played both of those teams this year. Texas was one of our early season out of conference matchups, but I'll start with A&M. A&M, another very strong club and another club that we actually happened to play 4 times this year. We lined up with them in, I believe, our second SEC series of the year. And then we also played them in the second round of the SEC tournament. And a very strong club overall. We caught them again at a pretty advantageous point in the season for ourselves. They were still kind of figuring out who they were at that point in the year. It was only the second series of the season. And I believe they lost the first series of the year. And we came out and played really good baseball at home, and we took 2 of 3 from them. And you could see that they were still figuring out who was going to fall into what role for their club. Is again a team that relied heavily on the transfer portal this offseason with the coaching change that took place there. So they were having different guys in and out of the lineup each of the 3 games that we played them. They were moving the lineup around a little bit each of the 3 times. So again, we played them at a time where they were trying to figure out who they were. But you could tell that there was some real talent there, and there was also a real group of veteran players who had played 3 or 4 years of college baseball before showing up to College Station. So I think once they sort of figured out who fell into what role for their club, they were able to run with that consistency and then have some real success moving forward. They ended up, I think, winning every SEC series after we played them. And so the unique combination they have of experience with talent and with motivation and a real unique momentum and energy coming from a first year head coach in a SEC program with the incredible fan base makes them a very tough matchup and a very strong club. Notre Dame, on the other hand, I got to be a part of Coach Jarrett's first year in South Bend and helping assemble the team that they have now, and to see the things that they've accomplished, and not only what they've accomplished, but the adversity that they had to work through over the last 3 or 4 years. It's a very challenging job. It's a very difficult job in a lot of different regards. And Coach Jarrett is just, I think, the best in the business. And I'm so happy for him, and so happy to see so many guys that have been a part of that program for so long and working so hard for so long to have some success come out of it. And I think they're going to be an incredible out in the tournament. They do a lot of little things well as a group. They have a very, very committed and disciplined approach at the plate as a team that allows them to have success offensively significantly more often than not. The way that they're able to string competitive at-bats together and quality contact is always what's going to be what puts them in ball games. So I think it's going to be a very, very skilled and highly well-coached series that's going to be very fun to watch.
Well, I must say, because I checked, Notre Dame is playing Texas, so it's
Okay.
Notre Dame.
And again, we played Texas this year too. They actually they swept us this past season. They took three in a row from us at their place. Very, very hard place to play at. Their home environment and atmosphere was incredible. It was a great opportunity for our club early in the year to go get some experience playing on the road at a very exciting Big 12 environment. And they're a strong club, again, very well coached, very veteran heavy lineup who can really do some damage. Ivan Melendez is probably the best hitter in college baseball this year. I believe set the home run record for the BB Core era. So they're going to be a very difficult matchup for Notre Dame as far as their ability to compete with them in terms of scoring runs but I think that again, another matchup that should be very fun to watch and very exciting, filled with a lot of incredible plays and a lot of quality at bats on both sides.
So from what we've gathered so far from all your wealth or plethora of information, Steven, is you think Arkansas is going to handle Stanford. Texas, are you picking Texas over Notre Dame?
No, I would actually lean Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame will continue the momentum that they've taken into Omaha with them and come out on top there.
Okay, great. Well, then let's move on to Oklahoma versus Texas A&M. What are your thoughts on that matchup?
Yeah, again, I think what Texas A&M has done this season has been incredible. It might be the little bit of bias in me, but I think I tend to lean towards the SEC team. I think they've shown this year that they can compete with the LSUs and the Ole Misses and the Mississippi States and the Arkansas of the world. So I would probably tend to lean Texas A&M there. I think that they're playing their best baseball right now. I think they have some of the best hitters in the nation in their lineup, hitting 2-3 for them in Jack Moss and Dylan Rock, and I think that they're going to be the anchors to their offense and be what allows them to have success.
Okay, so we got Texas A&M going to the next your pick to the next level here, and then what about Ole Miss versus Auburn?
Another two teams that I was able to see play this year in our matchups against them. We had tremendous success against Ole Miss, being able to go to Oxford and sweep them on the road. Another team that we played at a point in the season where they were sort of figuring out who they were, similarly to Texas A&M. At that point, Ole Miss didn't even have their weekend rotation really figured out, or starters or relievers identified for them on their pitching staff. So I think that they really what they did this season was just incredible in their way to turn it around as far as where they were about halfway point through the year and where they are now. For them to be an Ole Miss is just again, a credit to Coach Bianco and what they do over there. But just a very, again, veteran heavy team who can score a number of runs. I wouldn't be surprised to see them score 10, 12, 14 runs with the bats that they have in their lineup, Elko and Graham and Chatinier. So they're a very impressive group offensively, and they'll be scoring runs. Auburn is a very balanced, competitive team. Sonny DeShera, anchor in their lineup, a finalist for Player of the Year, probably the best transfer portal sign of the offseason for what he's done coming into Auburn and doing what he's done there. For him to have success in the SEC, coming from Samford the way that he did, it's just an incredible year for him. And congratulations to him, because it's just been exciting to watch as a fan from afar. But again, a very, very close matchup that's going to be hard to pick. I would probably lean Ole Miss for the number of veteran, older players they have on their roster and what it provides them as far as a confidence and a maturity and a level of just very mature, confident group that's going to probably have success from what they've done so far as over their 4 or 5 years there.
Okay, great. Well, so what we've got, you're picking Ole Miss to defeat Auburn. You're picking Arkansas over Stanford, Notre Dame over Texas, and Texas A&M over Oklahoma. So if that happens, then let's go with Texas A&M faces Notre Dame. Who wins that matchup?
It's that would be very, very probably one of the best coach matchups you'd have in the season. Coach Sheriff versus Coach Schloss. I would probably the bias in me, but tend to lean Notre Dame. I got to see firsthand just the way that they prepare and the way that they take their approach into a matchup. So I think that they would have a game plan ready that would allow them to have success. I think they'll waste no time in getting into that game plan, and I think they'll take care of business, despite how great of a season and how talented of a team Texas A&M is.
Okay, well, so we're picking. So you're picking Notre Dame to go to the final, to the championship winners bracket. So that's we got that pick, and now with Ole Miss facing Arkansas, who do you like in that matchup, Steven?
I'd probably lean Arkansas. Again, similar lineups offensively, both with the ability to score a lot of runs. Again, I think what Ole Miss has done as far as turning their season around this year has been incredible. I think the guys on the mound for them who have really stepped up and stepped into roles that they needed to fill in order to get to Omaha has been extremely impressive. And I'm not taking away anything that they have done, but I think Arkansas has a little bit of an edge on the mound as far as depth in their starting rotation and depth in the bullpen as well. So I think that Arkansas takes care of business there.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. So we're looking at Arkansas versus Notre Dame in the finals. And here's I guess I should do the drum roll. Who do you like if Arkansas gets to the final, the World Series, final World Series, and Notre Dame gets there? Who do you like in that matchup to be crowned national champions for 2022?
I'd have to go with Notre Dame. There's no way I couldn't not side with Coach Jared. I think what he's done, not only this year, but not only the last 2 years, but every day since he stepped on the campus as the head coach there, has just been incredible. And I think that this is the year that they take care of business. I think that they have the right mix of veteran, older players who have been there for now 4 or 5 years with a lot of talent that they've found both in recruiting very skilled and talented high school players combined with transfer portal additions that they've had and grad transfer additions that they've had, has constructed a roster that's built to win in Omaha. I think they're very deep on the mound with arms who have pitched in big time games. They've been through it before. They were battle tested last year in a super regional with Mississippi State that went 3 games and in front of sold out crowds of 15,000 people in Starkville. I can tell you that playing in that environment firsthand with Alabama this season was an incredible learning experience for our team. It allowed us to sort of build on who we are and our foundation, despite losing a couple games playing there. So I know what that effect has had on Notre Dame, going to that super regional last year, and even not winning it, but just competing well and having a chance to go to Omaha last year. I think that's done a lot for their club this year, and I think it's going to be part of the reason why they go out and win this whole thing.
Well, as you know, I don't think that when you think about schools that, the universities in this country, Notre Dame probably has one of the greatest followings of alumni and fans all across the country, actually all across the world. And I wouldn't be surprised that the Pope at the Vatican is cheering for Notre Dame in this College World Series. So there you have it, everyone. Steven Rosen, who, by the way, Steven is a Pegasus, and many of you are probably thinking, well, what's a Pegasus? A Pegasus is a fun way to determine or to give someone their personality. It's a way to remember what their Myers-Briggs typology is. And if you want to know more about this amazing way to learn about yourself, you can go to zodian.com /DOT, zodian.com /DOT. And you can see that little ticker tape. And I shared this with Steven, a week or so ago before we planned this. And Steven is a Beaver. I'm a Pegasus, and a Beaver is ISTJ. And we're the exact opposites. I'm an ENFP. And let me ask you, because you've been able to look at Zodian for the last week, what are your thoughts about taking personality and applying it to baseball? What are your thoughts, Steven?
Well, I think it's something that's incredibly important. I think that baseball is a game that obviously is going to have more failure in it than success. And I think that how you respond to that failure and how you move forward from it is is directly related to your personality and the way that you handle most things in life. So I think the two are directly relatable. And I think that understanding who you are and what your personality is and how you respond to certain adversity and also certain successes is a great way to understand yourself and your own abilities and what should be your best practices in working with other people and creating relationships. So I think all of those things can be huge for not only coaches, but for players as well.
I look forward to you using Zodian to if you're profiling a catcher or a pitcher or a third baseman or a right fielder or center fielder, because I think you'll find that there's certain personality types that do well in certain positions. I know in football, American football, my teammate at Stanford, his name was John Elway, and he was a Ray, and a Ray's personality is ISTP. And what that means is John got energy from his alone time, so he's very introspective, very linear pragmatic, which is the S. John was a thinker versus a feeler. I'm a feeler. John's a thinker. And then John is a go with the flow, which is really important in football, Steven.
For sure. And for quarterback.
When you drop back to pass, you have to go through the progression. And if you're a go with the flow, it's easier for you to progress.
These so you could probably guess that similarly, a lot of catchers would probably profile that way as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you're going to have fun using this as you continue your amazing journey in baseball. And let's talk about the future, Steven. You're at Alabama, and I know you're doing a great job. But I tell you, I want to connect you with my friends on the West Coast, and I'm going to do that because you have tremendous energy. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on. And what we do on the dot, you get the last word. So there's a lot of kids out there, and I'm going to put down here this, it's called the Players NIL. And I know you're up in the Cape Cod League right now, and I'd like you to share this link, if you could, with some of your players up there who care about their name, image, and likeness and want to understand what financial literacy is, which when I was coming out of college, we didn't have those opportunities. So the playersnil.com, Steven, would be great for players that you're helping. And again, you get the last word. Don't hang up, but you're going to close the show, and you get to send a message to all the student athletes out there that are listening, and all the baseball lovers. So thank you again, Steven, and thank you for being on the dot. And you get the last word, my friend.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And all I'll say is just continue, whether it's you're a coach striving to be a coach or a player striving to be the best player you can be. Continue to commit to the process and strive to get a little bit better each and every day. I think if we can all do that, if we can all work towards just getting 1% better at whatever it is we do in our role and our job, a little bit each and every day, over the course of 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, 6 months, a year, whatever that time is, we're all going to be where we want to be. So I'll leave guys with that message. Thank you again for having me.